Well, hello, seventh graders. Welcome to pre-algebra because we're doing real algebra now in chapter 3. In chapter 2 that we just finished, we did some early equation solving, but we only had one step involved, so there wasn't really too much of a question about what we did first. We did the only thing we had to do. Let's review. So in chapter 2, go get my pen over here, we did equations. Whoops. I'm giving you a harder one to begin with. We did equations that had only one step necessary to get the variable by himself. In this case, after we boxed it up and rewrote it, we would divide by 3, and we'd have our variable nice and alone, x equals 10/3. Well, in chapter 3, where we're going now, go down there, we actually are going to have more complicated equations. And when we get more than one step, we're going to have an order of operations, if you will, to figure out what we do first. So here's your Bible of your operations. We distribute first, just like we did when we were simplifying our expressions. How do we know if we distribute? Whoa, lost my pen. How do we know? We look for parentheses. We look for grouping symbols. Then we collect our like terms, and then we do our addition or our subtraction steps. And finally, the last thing we do before our check are multiplication and division steps to isolate our variable or get our variable alone. And then, of course, we check our work. That's our fifth and final step. So you're going to need a really sharp pencil, and you're going to need to write neatly and small. I've left you as much room as possible, but if you need extra notebook paper, you may want to just stop the video and go and get that so that you're not crowded in your work. So the instructions are simple. They say solve the equation, which means isolate your variable, get your variable alone, and then check your solution. First thing we do, just like we did in chapter 2, is box it up. Remember why we box it up? We box it up in order to remind us that we're not going to write on that original equation. We're going to do all of our work underneath it after we rewrite the equation. Now, x is not by itself. X is attached by a 7 who's multiplied, and he also has a 4 added on the back end of him. Which one of these things do we get rid of first? We need to look at our rules. We don't see any distribution because I have no parentheses. I think my like terms are collected on each side of the equal sign. If we have an addition or a subtraction step, we do it now. And I see the 4 is attached by addition. I'm going to do the reverse operation to remove, why did I do 3? Probably because Mr. Riven's watching me. Say hi, Mr. Riven.
Hello. Hello, 7th grade.
All right, we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. Bring down the 7x. The 4's cancel out. 32 minus 4 is 28. And now we're left with a one-step equation, just like we solved in chapter 2. How do we get rid of this 7? He's attached by multiplication. The inverse operation is division. X is equal to 4. We think, but we're not finished. We must do a check. So we go back to the original equation that's inside the box. We rewrite it. We substitute in. We make our substitution for our x. I'll go get another color up here. We think x is 4. Let's plug it in and see if that really works. 7 times 4 is 28. 28 plus 4 is 32, and we are good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is real algebra. This is Algebra 1. This isn't even pre-algebra. So congratulations on doing the first of many two- and multi-step equations, and we will be moving on to the second one in a minute. Okay, we're ready to move on to number 2. This one looks a lot like the first one. I just wanted to give you a little bit more practice, so if you will please box it up and rewrite it. Ask yourself what's attached to the x. He's got a 3 as a coefficient, which means multiplication, and he's also got a 1 attached by addition. I don't see any distribution or collecting like terms, and as a matter of fact, in section 3.1, we're really not going to do either one of these first two steps. I do have something that's added or subtracted onto him, which is the addition property of equality or the subtraction property of equality. I abbreviated up there. So this 1 is attached by addition. I can do the reverse operation, which is subtraction. And now I'm left with 3x equaling 12. Now I have a one-step equation left. I've got a 3 attached by multiplication, so I'm going to do, lost my pen, I'm going to do division, and I'm going to end up with x equaling 4. Isn't that funny? They both were 4. Problem number 1 was 4, and number 2 was 4. I would think I planned it that way, but I didn't. Now I'm going to do the check. I go back up to the original equation, and I rewrite it. I plug in what I think x is to make a true statement. I think that x is 4. I multiply. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1. I think I'm looking good. 13 equals 13. Let's move on down. You'll notice I think I stapled the pages kind of funny, so you've got 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, but when you go to number 7, it's actually on the second page, not on the back of the first page. So let's look at ones that are a little bit different. Number 3, I'm going to leave for you to do because it's just like examples number 1 and 2. But let's skip to number 4. Box it up, please, and rewrite it. Now, again, I'm looking at what I need to, what operations I need to undo. I need to undo this subtraction, and I need to undo this division. We are going to do the addition and subtraction first. I'm going to add 8 to both sides to undo the subtraction, and now I'm going to end up with x divided by 3 equaling a minus 4 plus 8 is a positive 4. Now I go back. I'm almost finished. My x is almost alone, but not quite. I need to undo the division. I do that by multiplication, and I end up with x equaling positive 12. Pretty good, except I need to check it. My check, I go all the way back up to the top. I rewrite it, and I plug in for x. I'm going to write my shell, and then I'm going to plug my number in for x. I think x is 12. That's what I think. There he is. Let's see if that works. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 4 minus 8. Does that really equal negative 4? Yes, it does. And I'm good to go. Your check is very, very important. Please do not skip it. Let's look at number 5. Actually, let's skip to number 6, and maybe we'll come back if we have time. I need to see how much time I've got going here. 8 minutes. Okay. I'm going to box number 6 up. I'm going to rewrite it. I notice I have 2 operations, a 2-step equation. So I'm going to look and see. I've got an 11 that's positive. He's attached by addition. And I've got a negative 4 that's attached by multiplication. I will take care of the 11 first. The opposite of positive 11 is negative 11. I'm going to add that to both sides. I bring down my negative 4p. Please don't forget this sign. Negative 4p equals negative 12. All right, we're almost there. Negative 4p is attached, the negative 4 is attached by multiplication. I'm going to do division. Always watching my signs. P is a negative divided by a negative is positive. Only thing that's left is the check. Let's go back up and do it quickly. We go back to the original equation. We write our shell, and we plug in. I think P is positive 3. Let's see if that works. 11 minus 12 equals negative 1. Yep, it's working for me so far. So I've left number 5 for you to do. I want to skip to, let's see where we are. I want to skip to number 9. So if you can please find number 9. If you can box him up. Let me get my little recorder up here so I can see how much time I am. Still got a few more minutes. If you will rewrite him. And now, actually, on this first page of our instructions where it said, what do we do first? Collect like terms. I'm having a terrible time. Collect like terms. We do need to do that on number 9. We need to collect our like terms. So let's see what we have. Before we add or subtract or multiply or divide, we're going to get our like terms together. These x's are like terms. So I ask myself, how many of them do I have? I have 11x plus 4. Now, all my like terms are collected. I'm going to do my addition and subtraction before multiplication and division. It's kind of crazy because it's the opposite order of PEMDAS when you think about it. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, and I end up with 11 equals 11x. I'm almost done. The 11 is attached by multiplication, so my last step is division. X equals 1. Anything divided by himself is 1. I'm going to skip the check on number 9 because I'm running out of time. I want to do number 10, and then I'll have you check 9 and 10 on your own. Rewrite. Collect your like terms. I've got a positive 8 and a negative 6. That's a positive 2. And now I'm ready to ask myself, what do I need to do across both sides of the equal sign? I've got multiplication going on, 5 times x, and I've got a 2 added. I will do the subtraction of the 2 first. I end up with 5x equals 35. Divide both sides by 5. And x is equal to 7, I think, and you're going to prove it for me, that x is equal to 7. I want to just do a couple more. I want to do number 11 and show you what this looks like so you can finish up the couple that I'm leaving for you. We're actually going to write equations now and then solve them for these English words. 14, there's 14, minus the product of 3 and a number. That's 3x. Is means equals 26. So here's our equation, written a little more friendly. And now it asks us to solve it. Box it up. Rewrite. Ask yourself what you're going to do first, since you have a couple things that you can do. We're going to subtract 14 from both sides. Bring down the minus 3x. Please don't forget that negative sign. 26 minus 14 is 12. Divide both sides by negative 3. And you end up with x equaling negative 4. You think. And then you'll be going back and doing your check. I'm almost out of time. They cut me off after 15 minutes. So I'll let you finish up these notes. I'll see you in class. Have a great day.